We talked every night for weeks. Elena Cross didn't date. Not anymore. As CEO of Crosstech Global, her life was measured in quarterly reports, late-night board calls, and the constant hum of responsibility that never truly shut off. Love had become inefficient. Risky. Something she'd packed away like an old letter she didn't trust herself to reread. Which was exactly why, at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, she found herself staring at an online dating app she'd downloaded under a fake name. E. Carter. No photo. Minimal bio. Just looking for conversation. It felt safer that way. Anonymous. No expectations. No one who knew her power, her money, or the way people's voices changed when they learned who she was. A new message appeared. Luna. You're still awake too. Elena smiled faintly. E. Carter. Always. What keeps you up? The reply came almost instantly. Luna. Work. I'm an assistant. My boss thinks sleep is optional. Elena huffed a quiet laugh. Of course you are. Maya Rivera absolutely was not supposed to be doing this. She lay on her bed, phone glowing against the dark ceiling of her small flat, heart racing every time E. Carter typed back. She'd downloaded the app on a whim after another 14-hour day catering to Elena Cross's impossible schedule. The irony wasn't lost on her. She didn't recognize the name. The profile was vague, almost deliberately so, but the conversation felt easy. Intelligent. Warm. Safe. E. Carter. Does your boss at least appreciate you? Maya hesitated, then typed. Luna. She does. In her own terrifying way. Elena paused on the other end of the screen. Terrifying. That stung more than she expected. E. Carter. What makes her terrifying? Maya smiled sadly. Luna. She's brilliant. Powerful. Everyone listens when she speaks. Sometimes I think she forgets the rest of us are human. Elena stared at the words longer than she should have. The next morning, Elena walked into the office with her usual composed authority, tailored suit, unreadable expression, control wrapped tight around her shoulders. Maya, she said coolly, setting her tablet down. Cancel my lunch. Maya looked up from her desk, professional and composed as always. Already done. You have a board call at 1 a.m. She paused. You didn't sleep well. Elena raised an eyebrow. Am I that obvious? Only to people who pay attention. Something flickered between them. Brief. Unspoken. Neither of them knew that just hours earlier, they'd been laughing quietly together through a screen, sharing secrets neither dared speak aloud in daylight. That night, the messages deepened. Luna. Do you ever feel like you're close to someone every day, but still invisible to them? Elena swallowed. E. Carter. Yes. More than I'd like to admit. Maya typed slowly, heart pounding. Luna. What would you do if you realized you cared for someone you weren't supposed to? Elena's fingers hovered over the screen. She thought of Maya's calm voice. Her quiet competence. The way she remembered things Elena forgot about herself. E. Carter. I'd probably be too afraid to admit it. And regret that longer than the risk itself. Maya's breath caught. Days turned into weeks. Late-night messages became lifelines. Confessions slipped out disguised as hypotheticals. Emotional intimacy bloomed in the shadows of secrecy. Until one evening, Elena typed a sentence she couldn't take back. E. Carter. If I told you my real name, everything would change. Maya's pulse raced. Luna. Then tell me when you're ready. Elena closed her eyes. Because when that truth came out, it wouldn't just change everything. It would shatter it. The office was quieter than usual. Even the city outside seemed to hold its breath. Maya stood by Elena's desk, tablet hugged to her chest, reciting the final details of the day. Her voice was steady, professional, yet something beneath it trembled, like a note held too long. And the Singapore call has been moved to Friday. I rescheduled your flight as well. Elena nodded, eyes fixed on the glass wall instead of her assistant. Thank you, Maya. There was a pause. Not the awkward kind. The dangerous kind. Maya didn't move. Elena felt it before she saw it, that subtle presence lingering, waiting. She turned slowly. Yes? Maya swallowed. You've seemed distracted lately. Elena's mouth curved into a faint smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. That's one way to put it. Their gazes locked. Too long. Too personal. Maya broke eye contact first. I'll send the updated schedule. She turned to leave, but Elena spoke before she could reach the door. Maya. She stopped. Elena rose from her chair, every movement deliberate. Do you believe people can know each other deeply, without ever really meeting? Maya's fingers tightened around the tablet. I think some people meet in ways that have nothing to do with proximity. Elena stepped closer. Not touching. Never touching. Does that ever scare you? Yes, Maya said softly. Because when it ends, you don't know what you've actually lost. The air between them thickened, charged with words neither dared say. Elena took a breath. You may go. Maya nodded, but as she left, her heartbeat thundered like she'd just escaped something, or stepped closer to it. That night, neither of them waited long. Luna. Today felt strange. Elena stared at the message, chest tight. E. Carter. Strange how? Luna. Like being close to something important and not knowing if you're allowed to reach for it. Elena closed her eyes. She typed, erased, typed again. E. Carter. If I told you that I see you every day, would that change how you feel? Maya's breath caught. Her fingers hovered over the screen. Luna. I'd ask why you've never looked at me the way you're talking to me now. Elena's pulse spiked. Because she had. God, she had. Just not in ways she'd allowed herself to understand. E. Carter. What if I'm afraid that if I look too closely, I won't be able to pretend anymore? The typing dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Luna. Then maybe you shouldn't pretend. Silence stretched between them, fragile, electric. Then. E. Carter. Meet me. Maya sat up in bed. Luna. Where? Elena hesitated, heart pounding louder than any boardroom confrontation she'd ever faced. E. Carter. Tomorrow night. A cafe downtown. I'll tell you everything. Maya stared at the screen, equal parts terrified and exhilarated. Luna. Okay. Elena set the phone down, hands trembling for the first time in years. Tomorrow, the screen would disappear. And with it, the safety of not knowing. The cafe smelled like espresso and rain. Maya arrived 10 minutes early, nerves humming beneath her skin. She chose a table near the window, fingers wrapped tightly around a warm mug she hadn't touched. Every time the door opened, her heart jumped. Don't build a face, she told herself. Don't imagine a voice. Still, she couldn't help it. She wondered if E. Carter would smile the way her messages did, soft, thoughtful, almost careful. She wondered if the woman behind the screen would be taller, quieter, braver in person. The door opened again. And this time, the world tilted. Elena Cross stepped inside. Immaculate as always. Dark coat tailored to perfection. Hair pulled back with effortless control. She paused just inside the entrance, scanning the room, until her gaze landed on Maya. Time slowed. Recognition crashed through them both like a wave. Maya's breath left her in a silent gasp. Elena. Elena stopped. For the first time since becoming CEO, she looked unsure. Maya. The name sounded different in this place. Stripped of authority. Almost tender. Maya stood abruptly, chair scraping softly against the floor. This isn't funny. I know, Elena said quickly, crossing the space between them before Maya could leave. Please. Just let me explain. Maya's hands trembled. You knew. You knew the whole time. Elena shook her head. Not at first. I swear. I didn't realize it was you until days in. And by then. You kept going, Maya finished, voice breaking. Yes. The truth hung heavy between them. Maya looked away, blinking hard. I told you things I've never told anyone. So did I, Elena said softly. And I never meant to hurt you. Maya laughed bitterly. You didn't think this would? Elena took a step back, giving her space. I thought, maybe if you met me as just a woman first, not your boss, you'd see who I really am. Maya turned back to her, eyes shining. And what happens when the mask comes off? Elena met her gaze, unflinching. Then I accept whatever you decide. Silence. The cafe faded around them. Maya slowly sat back down. Sit, she said, voice tight. If we're doing this, we're doing it honestly. Elena exhaled in relief and sat across from her. No more secrets, Maya said. No power games. No pretending. I promise, Elena replied. Maya studied her, really studied her, for the first time not as an assistant, not as a distant CEO, but as the woman who'd stayed up with her past midnight, who'd listened, who'd cared. You should know, Maya said quietly, this complicates everything. Elena's lips curved into a sad smile. My life has been complicated for a long time. You were the first simple thing in it. Maya swallowed. That wasn't supposed to hurt. But it did. Monday morning arrived without mercy. Maya stood at her desk precisely at 8 sharp, posture perfect, expression carefully neutral. If anyone looked closely, they might have noticed the way her hands trembled slightly as she organized Elena's schedule. But no one ever looked closely at the assistant. Except Elena. From behind the glass walls of her office, Elena watched Maya move with her usual quiet efficiency. Every step felt heavier than it should have. Every glance, dangerous. The cafe conversation replayed in her mind like a bruise she kept pressing. No more secrets. No pretending. She'd agreed. But honesty, she was learning, didn't make things easier. It made them sharper. Maya, Elena called gently. Maya stiffened almost imperceptibly before stepping into the office. Yes, Ms. Cross? The formality cut deep. Elena gestured to the chair across from her desk. Please. Sit. Maya remained standing. If this is about work, I'm prepared. Elena's jaw tightened. It's not. Then it shouldn't be happening, Maya replied calmly, though her eyes betrayed her. We agreed, no blurred lines. Elena nodded slowly. You're right. Silence stretched between them, brittle and strained. I'll be requesting a reassignment, Maya said quietly. Another executive. It's the most professional solution. The word solution felt like an ending. Elena stood. Is that what you want? Maya hesitated. Just for a second. It's what makes sense. Elena stepped closer, stopping well before the line they both knew existed. And if sense isn't enough? Maya's breath hitched. Elena. I'm not asking you to choose, Elena said softly. I'm asking you not to disappear. Maya looked up at her then, emotions breaking through the careful control. You don't get to ask that. Not after you already knew everything about me, and I knew nothing about you. Elena flinched. I know. And I'm sorry. Every day I don't say that feels like another lie. The room felt too small. Maya swallowed. I need time. I'll give you all of it, Elena said. Even if it means losing you from my side. Their eyes met. Something almost happened then, something fragile and terrifying. Elena's hand lifted, stopping midair, as if even the thought of touching her might shatter what little trust remained. Maya felt it. The restraint. The respect. That hurt more than if Elena had crossed the line. I should go, Maya whispered. Elena nodded, lowering her hand. Of course. Maya turned toward the door, then paused. For what it's worth, she said without looking back, the woman behind the screen, she was real to me. So was she, Elena replied. She still is. The door closed softly between them. And for the first time, both women understood that the hardest part wasn't the secret anymore. It was the waiting. The reassignment went through on Wednesday. No announcement. No drama. Just a quiet change in the internal system that felt louder than any argument. Maya now reported to a different executive on another floor. A practical solution. A professional one. A hollow one. Elena noticed the absence immediately. Her office felt wrong without the subtle rhythm of Maya's presence, the soft knock before entering, the way she anticipated needs before they were spoken, the calm she brought into rooms full of tension. Now there was silence. And silence, Elena was learning, could be cruel. She told herself this was for the best. She told herself that leadership meant sacrifice. She didn't tell herself the truth, that she missed her in ways that had nothing to do with work. Maya filled her days with precision. New schedules. New expectations. A new boss who was efficient but distant. No late-night conversations. No messages lighting up her phone after midnight. She deleted the app on Thursday. It still didn't stop her from checking her phone. At lunch, she sat alone by the windows, watching the city move below. That was where Elena used to stand sometimes, staring out at the skyline like she was searching for something she'd lost. Maya shook her head. Don't romanticize it, she told herself. She's still your boss. But the truth lived somewhere messier than rules allowed. The first crack came at a company event. A charity gala. Mandatory attendance. Black ties and polite smiles. Elena stood at the center of it all, commanding the room with effortless grace. Maya saw her from across the ballroom. Their eyes met. Just once. It was enough. Elena's expression faltered, just slightly, before she recovered. Maya looked away first, heart pounding. Later, Maya found herself at the bar, fingers wrapped around a glass she didn't really want. May I? A voice asked. She turned. Elena stood beside her, close but careful. Is this appropriate? Maya asked quietly. Elena's gaze softened. Is it human? Maya exhaled a shaky laugh. That depends on who's watching. No one is, Elena said. Not the way you think. They stood in parallel silence, inches apart, the space between them louder than any music in the room. I meant what I said, Maya murmured. I needed distance. I know, Elena replied. I'm not here to take it away. Maya glanced at her. Then why are you here? Elena hesitated. Honesty, then. Because pretending you don't exist hurts more than respecting the line. Maya swallowed. The band struck up a slow song. Couples drifted onto the floor. For a moment, the world narrowed to just the two of them. Does it get easier? Maya asked. Elena shook her head. But it gets clearer. Maya turned fully toward her now, emotion breaking through restraint. And what do you see? Elena met her gaze, voice barely above a whisper. Something worth waiting for. The words settled between them, fragile and dangerous. Maya stepped back first. Good night, Elena. Elena nodded. Good night, Maya. They walked away in opposite directions. But neither of them felt like they were moving forward. The problem with distance was that it didn't erase desire. It sharpened it. Weeks passed. The company moved forward. Deals closed. Headlines praised Elena Cross for another flawless quarter. On paper, everything was working exactly as it should. Inside, she was unraveling. Elena found herself lingering in meetings she didn't need to attend, just to catch a glimpse of Maya across a conference table. She memorized the way Maya tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating, the way her pen paused mid-sentence when someone said something careless. Maya felt it too. The restraint. The watching. The almosts. And then came Rachel Hale. Senior strategy consultant. Brilliant. Confident. Too interested. Rachel laughed too easily at Maya's comments during meetings, leaned a little too close during brainstorming sessions. She invited Maya for coffee. Then dinner. Maya said yes the second time, if only to prove to herself that she could. Elena saw them together in the lobby one evening. Maya smiling. Rachel's hand hovering near her back. Something inside Elena cracked. That night, Elena didn't sleep. She paced her penthouse, phone in hand, opening and closing messages she never sent. She had no right. No claim. But by morning, restraint felt like cowardice. She called Maya into her office. Maya arrived cautious, guarded. You wanted to see me? Elena closed the glass door behind her. I need to be clear about something. Maya folded her arms. This isn't a good idea. I know, Elena said. But neither is pretending I don't care. Maya's breath caught. Elena. I don't want to interfere in your life, Elena continued, voice steady but raw. But seeing you with someone else was bound to happen, Maya said quietly. You told me to take time. I did, Elena said. And I meant it. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Silence fell, heavy and honest. Maya looked at her, really looked at her. You don't get jealous easily. No, Elena admitted. Only when it matters. The truth hung between them, undeniable now. Maya stepped closer, stopping just short of crossing the line. And what if I told you I went on that date hoping I'd feel nothing? Elena's control finally slipped. Did you? Maya shook her head. I felt wrong. Like I was borrowing someone else's life. Elena exhaled shakily. This has to stop, Maya said, voice trembling. Either we let this go completely, or we stop pretending it isn't already real. Elena didn't hesitate this time. I choose real. Maya searched her face for doubt, for manipulation, for power. She found none. Only vulnerability. Then you need to understand something, Maya said. If we do this, it won't be secret. It won't be easy. And I won't be hidden. Elena nodded. You won't be. The distance between them disappeared, not in a touch, not yet, but in a decision finally spoken aloud. And both of them knew. There was no going back. They didn't kiss that day. That was the first rule they broke by keeping. Because once they did, there would be no mistaking what it meant. Instead, Elena watched Maya walk out of her office with a steadiness that felt newly chosen, not enforced. And Maya felt it too, the shift, the decision settling into her bones like gravity. That evening, Elena didn't go home. She drove. No destination. Just movement. The city blurred past as the sun sank low, thoughts circling one undeniable truth. I'm in love with her. The realization didn't scare her. The consequences did. Maya stood in her kitchen, staring at her phone. A single message waited. Elena. May I come over? Just to talk. Maya closed her eyes. Maya. Yes. But we go slow. The reply came instantly. Always. Elena arrived without her armor. No tailored suit. No heels. Just dark jeans, a soft coat, and nervous energy she didn't bother hiding. When Maya opened the door, they stood facing each other in silence, the weight of everything unspoken pressing in. "Hi," Maya said. "Hi," Elena replied. They stepped inside. Maya's flat was warm, lived in. Books stacked on the coffee table. A mug half finished in the sink. Proof of a life Elena had only imagined through text messages. They sat on opposite ends of the couch. "So," Maya said softly, "this is the part where we find out if we can exist in the same room." Elena smiled faintly. "I think we already know." Maya glanced at her. "Knowing isn't the same as choosing." Elena turned fully toward her. "Then let me choose you out loud." The words landed gently. Carefully. Maya's breath hitched. "Elena." "I won't rush you," Elena continued. "I won't use my position to protect myself. If this costs me comfort, reputation, power, I accept that." Maya searched her face, looking for certainty. "What about us?" she asked. "What if this fails?" Elena reached out, stopping just short of touching her hand. "Then it fails honestly. But I won't let fear be the reason we never try." Maya closed the space herself. Their fingers brushed. It wasn't explosive. It was deliberate. The kiss came slowly, almost reverently, soft, questioning, as if asking permission even as it happened. Maya's hand curled into Elena's sleeve. Elena's breath shook. When they pulled back, foreheads resting together, the world felt quieter. "This changes everything," Maya whispered. Elena smiled against her skin. "Good." They stayed like that for a long time, no urgency, no hunger, just the certainty that whatever came next, they had crossed into it together. Not as CEO and assistant, but as two women who finally stopped pretending. The first headline appeared 3 days later. Not about Elena. Not about Maya. About policy. A quiet internal memo circulated first: updated workplace relationship disclosures, revised reporting structures, new ethics language approved by the board unanimously. By the end of the week, CrossTech Global was being praised for progressive transparency. Elena read the coverage alone in her office, phone face down on the desk. She hadn't told Maya yet. Maya found out in the break room. Someone mentioned it casually, stirring sugar into coffee. "Did you see? CrossTech just formalized disclosure rules." About time, honestly. Maya's stomach tightened, not with fear, but recognition. That night, Elena came over again. No texts beforehand. No planning. Just a quiet knock that felt heavier than the last. Maya opened the door and studied her face. "You did something." Elena exhaled. "I made it official." Maya stepped aside, letting her in. "Official how?" They stood in the center of the room this time, no couch between them. "I disclosed," Elena said. "To the board. Not names. Not details. Just that I was involved in a consensual relationship with a former direct report. I stepped back from any oversight months ago. They approved the policy changes unanimously." Maya stared at her. "You didn't have to do that," she said quietly. The first headline appeared 3 days later. "I know," Elena replied. "I wanted to." Maya's voice wavered. "You could have protected yourself. Kept this quiet." Elena shook her head. "I won't build a future with you by hiding you." The room went still. Maya crossed her arms, emotions finally spilling through the calm she'd worn like armor. "Do you know how many people warned me about powerful women? About becoming invisible inside their orbit?" Elena stepped closer. "And do you know how many years I've watched people shrink around me because I never made space for truth?" Maya's eyes burned. "This costs you." Yes, Elena said. And you're worth it. Silence pressed in, then broke. Maya laughed softly, breathless, disbelieving. You're terrifying. Elena smiled. So I've been told. Maya reached for her this time, hands settling at Elena's waist with certainty instead of hesitation. The kiss they shared was deeper than the first, still gentle, but no longer afraid. When they pulled back, Maya rested her forehead against Elena's shoulder. So, she murmured. What happens now? Elena wrapped her arms around her, steady and sure. Now we live like people who chose each other. Outside, the city kept moving. Inside, something settled. Not perfectly. Not easily. But honestly. And for the first time, both women felt seen, not by a screen, not by a title. But by each other. 5 years later, the office no longer belonged to Elena Cross. At least, not in the way it once had. The glass walls were still there, but they felt softer now, etched with history, warmed by laughter that once would have felt out of place. Elena had stepped back from day-to-day leadership 2 years earlier, transitioning into a chairwoman role that allowed space for something she'd once believed incompatible with ambition. A life. Maya stood by the window, sunlight catching in her hair as she reviewed a proposal on her tablet. She wore confidence easily now, no longer borrowed, no longer cautious. Her title read Director of Operations, earned slowly, deliberately, without shortcuts or shadows. You're staring, Maya said without looking up. Elena smiled from the doorway. I still can't believe you're real. Maya glanced at her, amused. You dated me for months before you found out. Elena crossed the room, wrapping her arms around her from behind. I found you before I knew you. That part had never stopped being true. They lived in a quieter part of the city now. A place with morning light and evenings that smelled like rain instead of deadlines. Dinner was often late, conversations long, silences comfortable. There were no secrets left that mattered. The world had noticed them, eventually. There had been an article, carefully written, respectful. A study in leadership and transparency. No scandal. No spectacle. Just two women who refused to shrink themselves to fit expectations. Maya had saved the article. Elena pretended not to know. On a Sunday afternoon, they sat on the balcony with coffee cooling between them. Do you ever think about the app? Maya asked suddenly. Elena laughed softly. Every time my phone buzzes past midnight. Maya smiled. We met in a place built for pretending. And chose not to, Elena said. Maya leaned into her, fingers lacing together. If you hadn't been afraid. I wouldn't have been brave, Elena finished. They watched the city breathe below them. Not as CEO and assistant. Not as power and proximity. But as equals who'd learned that love didn't ask for perfection, only honesty, spoken out loud. Maya kissed Elena's temple. I'm glad you crossed the line. Elena smiled, eyes closing. So am I. And somewhere in the quiet distance between who they had been and who they'd become, the screen finally went dark. Because they no longer needed it to risk it all, or walk away forever.